All right, we're doing a little unboxing today. This is our Rocky Mountain order. Should have quite a bit of stuff in it. The reason we're in the room is because the garage is like filled with stuff right now. So we don't really have the space in the garage to do an unboxing. But I'm super excited. This is gonna be awesome. So much stuff. Throw that to the side. Oh yeah. Look at all that goodies. All of those goodies in there. So, first things first, we have a Tusk air filter. We have our V-Force reeds, which is super sick. This is like $140 something, so definitely one of the bigger ticket items. Looks like we have our water pump rebuild kit. We have this is our top shock bearing, our all balls shock bearing replacement. This is our linkage bearing kit right here from All Balls. This is our Tusk rear brake line right here in the red, which looks super trick. Super excited to use that. We have our Tusk front red braided brake line right there. Excuse me. We got some ODI lock-ons. We got our Tusk performance competition clutch kit right here. This is our transmission bearing kit for the engine, so this needs to go into the fridge. This is the OEM kit to rebuild some of the airbox. So it's got like a air boot collar. Oh, it has our red banjo bolts in there too. And if you can see those red banjo bolts. So this, I guess, is just some of the smaller stuff, some of the screws that we need to rebuild that. This is our rear brake caliper rebuild kit, because in the last video we were unable to rebuild the rear one. We just did the front one. We got our gasket here for the airbox. This is our mud flap. This is our chain. We got our Tusk rear brake guard right there. Nice red color. This is our swing arm bearing right here. And then we have our Tusk front sprocket. And last but not least, we have a Motion Pro clutch cable right here. All right, if you are like me and you didn't take a great video of how to put these transmission bearings in, and you bought the, I believe it's the Hot Rods transmission kit, you have two of these bearings that are relatively the same, or two sets that are relatively the same. The only one that's really easy is the bearing for the shift shaft here, or I guess this is the shift drum. One of them is very obvious. The spline washer is the only blind one on the shift shaft. So you know that the spline one goes on this side. And then the other one fits on this side. And it'll be the only bearing that fits around this. So, and then you can kind of visualize when they're together, the shift shaft obviously goes there. So that one's pretty easy, but these ones are more difficult to know which one is right. So on the hot rods, one of these is recessed right here. And so that is going to be where your dowels go right there. So that's where that one goes. And then conversely, the same side, or on the opposite case, you're going to have the other one go, and it comes from the other way. So it'll be coming from this way, and that's where that one will go. And then with these guys, kind of a similar one. They're the same bearing, except one of them has this backer to keep oil out. It's got a seal, and I haven't really seen anything on it. But my guess is that the one that has the oil seal on the outside goes on this case where the clutch cover is to keep oil out. So when I install this, I'm going to install this one right here, and I'm going to install this one on the other blind bearing right there. And that makes sense to me. So I guess after you guys watch this video, you'll see if this works or not. But logically, that's what makes sense to me. So that's how I'm going to install them. Okay, so I basically manufactured my own crank puller tool thing. I got some 2-inch PVC pipe and cut it down to about 8 inches. And then I got this all thread. So if you want to make one of these yourselves, this long piece is called all thread. I believe this is 1/2 inch. And then I went and found, this is the crank. This is the flywheel holder nut. So I went to Home Depot and found some nuts that were the same size as that one. And then I welded it to the end. That way you can thread it on. Yeah, I just welded it onto this all thread. And then I have a washer assembly here. This is one of these, this is used in a construction application to secure lag bolts and stuff like that. But anyways, the idea is you put it through like that, and then you thread it on as far as it'll go, like that, and then you put this around, and then you thread this guy down, and it should pull through. All right, so you can kind of see here, for the most part, it pulled all the cases together. We do have pretty good rotation of the crankshaft still. It still moves pretty freely, which is nice. I did have to, this is the old engine mounting bolt, the rear one that goes through the swing arm. I did have to put that through this rod so that when I was tightening it down, it wouldn't move. But yeah, from my local Home Depot, this costs about $30, I think. And it worked great. So it took me less than an hour, or a little over an hour, to go out, get all the supplies. I live about 10 minutes away from Home Depot, drive to where my welder is, which is about 10 minutes. It's at my mom's house. And then weld that nut on the end and then drive home. So really doesn't take long to make this thing. As long as you have the equipment that you need. But yeah, so cases are together, so we can go ahead and start buttoning this thing up. Right here, I realized that my crank might not be centered within the cases, so I was taking feeler gauge sets and checking the gap on both sides in between the crank and the case to see how tight it was, and basically just pulling the crank through to make those gaps and the feeler gauge sets the same amount of clearance.
It's always a good idea to check your transmission after you install it and just make sure that everything's smooth and that it shifts through all the gears. When I installed this shift drum, something felt a little off, and so this is me putting it back on the block and taking the little mechanism there out. I don't know exactly what that's called, but turns out that it was off-centered, and I don't think that pin was aligned with the groove that's in that piece, and I think that's what was going on and why it was like moving wobbly. So here I am just reinstalling it. So guys, even the smallest thing can make a huge difference in how your bike runs. Like, this would have caused catastrophic failure if I would have just not fixed that. So just take a little bit of extra time when you're building your engine, that way you don't have to waste a whole bunch of money. I'm not sure if this is like a lazy way to do it or the right way, or if everyone does this, but it's really rare that two seals will have the exact same inner and outer diameter. So with this one, going through my seal kit, I was just checking to see if the seal would fit, the outside diameter would fit for the clutch arm, and it fit the outside. And then I grabbed the actual clutch mechanism there, and then checked the inside before installing the seal. And that's kind of my process for most of these seals. I always check my transmission twice. Once when I just put the case halves together and I get the shift drum thing on the backside on. I check it then with a socket, and then I check it with the shift shaft to make sure that all my paws are in correctly and nothing's binding up. It's usually a good practice to check it twice. That way you're not having to go back and redo stuff or potentially cause engine damage. especially learned with rebuilding the power valve is you should definitely put that seal in first, and then when you're installing the power valve shaft itself, the one with the square end that attaches to the valves and goes through, you should heat up the actual valves themselves and put the shaft in the freezer. It just helps it slide a little bit easier into position because it can be kind of a bear to get out. And then the rebuild is pretty straightforward. Nothing really to note of.
So I kind of made a rookie mistake. There are 6 head stud bolts, and 4 of them are the same length, you can see here, and 2 of them have a shorter inset thread. And it just so happens that I mistakenly put the shorter inset thread on the back one when they're supposed to be the 2 that are closest, or I guess facing the exhaust side, because they're not like fully recessed inside of the cylinder. See how these 2 just kind of go to like the surface is where all of the other ones are recessed. The other 4 recessed ones are supposed to be the longer bolts, and the 2 shorter ones are supposed to come up here. So I made that mistake. So now I have to extract this bolt, and I'm trying to be very careful about it because obviously this is a sealing surface, and I don't want to mess it up or, make it so that it's scratched or anything like that. So I'm trying to extract it with a drill. I'm trying not to resort to welding because welding is gonna mess up this sealing surface pretty bad. So wish me luck.
All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Here's a little breakdown update. The biggest things to note here are on February 7th, 8th, and 9th. I just kind of grouped everything together. And it was about 10 hours for the engine rebuild and the shock and linkage and the swing arm bearing replacements and all that stuff. And then also included in that is the cylinder extraction that I still have yet to get out, but we're working on it. And then for the price breakdown, I've added in all of the costs of like the different things that I showed in the unboxing. So thanks for watching. Like always, I will link my previous video above, and stay tuned for the next video.